Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Oh, my beloved friends, today I would like to share with you a beautiful story of Prophet Sayyidina Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that reflects unwavering faith, trust, and the power of God's protection. A moment that teaches us a timeless lesson. One day, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were traveling through the desert. They stopped to rest, and the Prophet chose to lie down under the shade of a tree. The desert was silent, and peace seemed to surround them. However, danger was near. While the Prophet was resting, a man from the enemy tribe saw him alone and vulnerable. Seizing the opportunity, the man crept up, took the prophet's sword, and stood over him with a heart filled with arrogance. With a heart filled with arrogance, the man unsheathed the sword and pointed it directly at the prophet. He then asked a question meant to strike fear into any heart. "O Muhammad, who will protect you now?" But the Prophet ﷺ did not show any fear. He was not thrown he was not thrown into a panic situation. Instead, with a calmness that could only come from unshakable trust in Allah, he looked up and answered, "Allah, Allah." In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The man who had been so confident suddenly felt a wave of fear and awe. His hand began to tremble. He dropped the sword. The Prophet ﷺ stood up, picked up the sword, and looked at the man. Now the table has turned. Now the table has turned. The Prophet could have taken revenge, but instead he asked, "And now who will protect you?" The man's arrogance melted into humility. He expected punishment, but instead of striking him down, the Prophet ﷺ showed mercy. He forgave him and let him go. This act of kindness and faith moved the man deeply. He returned, he returned to his people and said, "I have come from the best of men." This story is a living example of Quranic ayah. وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. It means, and whoever places their trust in Allah, He alone is sufficient for them. When the Prophet ﷺ said, "Allah," with complete certainty, it showed his deep reliance on Allah alone. The moment he placed his trust in Allah, the situation changed instantly. This teaches us that Allah's protection comes to those who wholeheartedly rely on Him, no matter the odds. The Prophet ﷺ once said, "Ida sa'alta fas'alillah, wa ida sta'anta fasta'in billah." When you ask Allah. When you seek help, seek it from Allah. This hadith directly reflects the Prophet's actions in this story. Instead of seeking help from anyone around or expressing fear, he demonstrated total reliance on Allah. This hadith encourages us to make Allah our first and ultimate source of help in every challenge we face. What is the moral of this story? This story is a powerful reminder of the strength that comes from faith. It shows us that no matter how dark or dangerous a situation may seem, when we place our trust in Allah, He is always there to protect us. The story also highlights the beauty of forgiveness. Even when the Prophet ﷺ had the power to punish the man, he chose mercy. He chose mercy. This act of compassion softened the man's heart and transformed him. It showed us that it shows us that forgiveness, when practiced, can turn enemies into allies and hatred into respect. Let us take this lesson into our lives. Trust in Allah in every situation. He is sufficient for us. Practice mercy and forgiveness, just as the Prophet did. When we embody these teachings, we will find peace in our hearts and blessings in our lives. وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And whoever places their trust in Allah, He alone is sufficient for them. Thank you for listening to this beautiful story. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the faith and wisdom. Until next time, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon you all. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم